everyone. This is the office breakout session. And since the audience just barely outnumbers the panel, I think we can open this up for questions and audience participation at any point. And thank you for sitting with us. So what we're going to do is we're going to introduce ourselves, and I'm going to start. My name is Liz Gracie. I'm a lawyer. My law firm is Keith Lyons and Hines. For more than 80 years, we've done a number of practice areas. Throughout that time, we've done property tax, appeal type work. Currently, we have 10 lawyers in our firm, and my particular issue is office claims and examples.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank our attorneys for allowing us this opportunity to speak about a relevant topic. I would also like to thank all of those people who just barely outnumber the panel, who break the code and come out today to hear us talk. I also like to thank our moderator for today and the panel for being here. Like Elizabeth said, my name is Paul Walsh, and I am the Executive Director for PAR in Chicago. PAR in Chicago is the labor and management partnership between the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers of 154 and the Electrical Contractors Association of Chicago, and the time where we consistently invest in better construction, better careers, and better communities. A little bit of information about me and my pedigree. I've been in the unionized electrical industry for over 22 years, serving an apprenticeship, the 5-year apprenticeship program where I graduated to become a journeyman electrician in 2004. After graduating from a journeyman electrician, I worked in that capacity for a few years before being elevated to the position of foreman and leading future journeymen and apprentices in the electrical industry. Shortly after that, I was selected to be one of very few members who represent the over 12,500 union labor workers within the industry. After working in that capacity for a few years, I was identified as someone that they would think would be a good candidate to represent the unionized electrical industry as a whole, which includes our contracting partners. Our contracting partners right now consist of just over 600 electrical contractors that make up that industry. So just a little bit of information about me and about my pedigree as far as it relates to the electrical industry.
Good afternoon, I'm David Burton, and we're about an hour behind schedule with our panel here, so we'll try and keep it succinct and welcome questions as said. My practice is tenant representation, which has evolved over the years. About 25 years. Clients are national now, previously worked in Cushman & Wakefield, CRE. I lead a multidisciplinary team, primarily focused on office relationships to represent corporations nationally and globally, and expand to include retail transactions as well as industrial and special use from time to time, lab, office, residential town. And those generate about corporate relationships that I mentioned, primarily the Department of office, which is our here in the Chicago market. And our team of 8 does about 100 transactions per year. So we see a lot of different deals downtown and international. So provides a perspective. So we're panel today. Thanks.
Thanks. I'm Gordon Laird. I'm with Daniel Security Co. I'm the Director of Sales and Marketing. Primarily focus on office and industrial in Collin counties, prominently in the Lake Cook area, as well as in the Lake, DuPage, and a little bit in Tarrant County as well. Unlike some of our other panelists, my focus tends to be more on the landlord side of the transaction, but certainly about half of the transaction I've done in the last 18 months from the tenant brokerage side as well. One of the things that we really try to focus on within our portfolio is having a diversified portfolio of small size offices, and I think that's something that I'm happy to talk about as the panel goes on.
Thank you all. So we've all been through the general plenary sessions, and today, or in this panel, we're trying to get a little bit more So let's start out with David. What can you tell us about the tenants affected in this market?
The tenant perspective in the market today as it relates to office spaces has been on, I think, what we've seen over the last 2 years since the pandemic hit now. It has been what went from, hey, we'll work from home a little bit to from survival mode to following, hey, this works for some, to hey, this is causing us some lack of progress to others. So there's been an anxious movement to get back to the office space. And I think what we're seeing is from before the pandemic, the market was white hot, and intensification of office space use, to now people coming back to the office again and wanting a little more elbow room. So interesting thing about it is it's full circle from a metric of square foot per person usage. People want to be back in the office 3 or 4 days a week, flexibility to work from home 1 or 2 days a week. But when they're in the office, they want their space, their personal space, more so than was a trend. So I think balance out to come full circle where we used to be in terms of the way spaces designed and used today. And people want to be in the office, and we've just recruited a new employee who will start with us next week. He had been working at a large bank for the last couple of years since he came out of college. He had not been in the office once, didn't know anybody on his team, so they would recognize one of his team walking down the street. Can't wait to get into our team, work at our space. And we're in the office pretty much every day, Monday through Thursday. And frankly, we've been working from home on Fridays in the industry for anyway, so it's a walk on the club that people are finally doing.
Gordon, how's it from the owner, the landlord's perspective?
So I think we're well capitalized office investors and landlords. Pandemic has given them all right. Versus the rest of the market. One of the biggest things that the previous one talked about was having amenities and the willingness to deploy capital to make it a true experience into the office. We don't live in a 1990s world with very massive floor plans, farms, where you don't have to provide anything other than just 4 walls and a roof. And our model going forward has been to create increasingly smaller, more diversified offices, as well as more amenity-rich buildings. That's hard to do for a lot of landlords, particularly in a down market where they're not as well capitalized. And for some of the buildings that we work with on the technical side, there are just some deals that just aren't happening. And I think one of the big challenges we have going forward, particularly in the suburban and Cullen County market, is there's certainly a lot of functionally obsolete products out there. Has to be in space. And moving forward, we have to figure out a way as investors to really harness our existing spaces while potentially looking at eliminating spaces that just are no longer useful modern.
In that last panel, Gordon Zucker said, not Gordon Zucker, I'm mashing up these rocks, said that landlords must take responsibility for an employee experience, and in part that means educating the employers. What do you think about that?
So I think that's definitely accurate for the small and mid-sized office groups that are coming in. Overwhelmingly, I think the most important thing is creating a community around your office. I think of one building we actually just purchased that over the last 36 months, the building has transformed itself on both our side, leasing as well as previous investor, into a government-focused building. All the tenants, or a substantial portion of the tenants, are focused, a wide range of products and services, and it creates a space that there's not only a community where you can come in and work, but you can also generate business through the building itself. And I think we're going to see more groups gathering around someone unified causes or unified sectors of the marketplace. Because, once again, the office is evolving and you have to have a reason.
Okay, that reminds me of another thing that was said by one of the audience members today. He basically talked about landlords creating some sort of incubator to train tenants to get a business off the ground and be able to sustain a business in that space. How do you react to that?
Well, I say certainly the most successful spaces we've had are, I don't necessarily want to describe them as small, I say micro office, kind of 1 to 2 rooms with a cohabitation space, not your traditional co-working because there's private spaces, but a small office scenario, and those have been incredibly successful in creating a culture of entrepreneurship and business success. I can think of, so this is pre-pandemic, but one of the tenants that we had come in to our space about 5 years ago, rented probably 400 square feet of office. It is now in 48,000 feet. If we wouldn't have taken the entrepreneurial role to sit there and provide a space, create a co-working, or create an equitable space for small mid-sized businesses, I don't think we would have seen that kind of growth in our portfolio. But at the same time, it's a challenge because to develop those sorts of spaces, you have to invest a tremendous amount of capital upfront to redevelop, sometimes functionally obsolete programs. And so I think the real challenge going forward is trying to figure out what spaces can be used for parts that not only environmentally friendly, but a economical way, because that's going to be the demand.
Okay, speaking of then capital investment to upgrade space, Albert, where does Powering Chicago plug into?
But it's interesting, listening to the panelists today talk about creating space within the office areas to give people more room, right, and to make them feel comfortable providing amenities. Around the summer of 2020, Powering Chicago developed a contactless office ebook. And that ebook was sent out to our business partners, the commercial property owners, operators, and tenants around how their space can be modified physically and using different technologies to make it safer once their tenants, once their employees, once people decide to come back to the office. And it was very successful in its initial implementation. What we're seeing now, as we understand more about the virus, is that these modifications that were simple, things that we had already had in place, like the automatic hand washer, dryer, things of that nature, a lot of those issues may not be necessarily related to COVID, seeing that it's more aerosol in its transmission. However, what we found and what we're seeing is that our partners are partnering with our customers, our clients, and our office personnel to find out that some of the technology that was in the ebook are relevant today. What I mean more specifically is wireless connectivity, creating a space where not only can offices be manipulated physically and still be connected to the infrastructure, but also connected to the internet. I know this is not a technology panel. But not that this is a technology panel, but this ebook provides the ability for connecting with our commercial property owners, our tenants, our landlords, providing opportunities for them to not only create this space, but it also uses this technology to make sure and ensure that they're viable and sustainable in the future. We know that we're into the internet of things, right? Everything is connected to the internet. And when you have the capability of providing a safer space, knowing that your tenants can come into the space and they can maneuver their physical location to create that distance, that social distance that's recommended, to know that some of those individuals, and we have here today where we might fist bump or elbow bump because we don't want to really touch physical spaces, but to provide those amenities. But I think more than anything, being able to employ real advances that will not only deal with the challenges that we're facing today, but to carry on into the future, like implementing UV lighting, germicidal lighting techniques, installing wireless connectivity in the infrastructure, and also when we look at what we're going to do in the future, this provides a place for those offices to make sure that they are ready for the next wave of not only challenges that will come, but they will be able to manipulate their space with the connection to the internet, because we know that that is one thing that's going to be prevalent in the future.
So in the last panel, a lot of that had to do with quality space and with rental rates. And they started out by saying that with all of this vacancy, that tenants might be expecting to get lower rental rates, but that developers should kind of hold the line in order to provide quality space. So David, how do you think that plays out in your work?
Well, I think that works well for new construction, where companies have held the line, but amenities have been moved. And that's what we're seeing the most activity in the market. The market, for example, is the fastest growing market in the country. What was just a couple million square feet a few years ago, it was up to 6 or 7 million square feet with pretty healthy pipeline of mixed use from office to retail to apartments, hotels, going there very quickly, and relative price intensity, incentive for tenants that are leasing space there. I mean, they're paying $40 net rents, $1.25 for property expenses in that market. And there's buildings that may want to spec and quickly have enough proposals lined up to fill a building before they even out of town. So that's been an amazing story unto itself. If you look at across the river, Blue has been construction there, continues to do well. Class A buildings are okay. But the further down you get, SB or C or central release is where to get softer, and that's where prices have been compressed. Or concessions have gone up. Landlords first try and maintain the prices as much as they can, instead of but that's what we're seeing, the change in the need for the Class B, C buildings to reinvent themselves, and we're not moving up quality. They'd rather have good quality space and pay a bit more, sometimes a lot more, in order to have a space that's attractive.
Yeah, you know, a lot of my clients are in a situation where they've got vacancy, even in the B buildings, you know, are having to put a lot of money in to upgrade their amenities. So Gordon, how do you feel from the owner perspective about, you know, how much are you going to give on rent and concessions when you've already had to invest a lot of money in space doing the tax?
I think that very much depends on building the market. For more high-end buildings or Class A buildings, I think what really drives buildings is experiential versus what we see in our market on the Class B side, or something that's outside of our portfolio that's just very much more of I'd say startup or more of a lean feel to the office, and some of those are much more service industry or basic professional services, tenants, and maybe they're required to have an office as part of licensing. For those kind of offices, don't typically see the same level of amenities spaces, but your higher end spaces, maybe going to be corridor, where you have top talent, and you're competing with not only Chicago market for talent, but sometimes the whole market for talent. Amenities in terms of both in building and out.
You know, I feel when I come to this that my own law firm has maybe not been too smart. We're in a big building with a fitness center and a basement. You know, I need to go back and rethink about it. I wanted to go back to one of the prior panels. I know we earlier this interested to hear him say that in terms of taxes, what investors are most concerned about was stability and predictability. That basically the absolute dollar amount didn't seem to make that much difference. But I'm wondering if it's the same for tenants. David, what do you have to say about that? Are tenants in different dollar amounts, or and they just want stability, or they have different outlooks?
It depends on the tenant, depends on the industry. You know, there are some tenants, partnerships, that are very concerned about, hey, what's here, to split up with the partners, so, there is space, and I guess I should say for that level of value, type of deals, in the market. There are other companies whose valuation on paper seem to double every day in the market. And those tenants, particularly high-tech tenants, you know, they want the best building, the best space, and want it fast. So they don't care much about price. I think it was, you know, I see Dan, at the center, he was talking about some of the tenant scorecard type of valuations. It's different than asking what's important to finance or is it the amending packages that are out there. So I think it depends on the tenants. And there's a big spread from a B price to the construction pricing. It's as wide as we've ever seen it out of the market for years and years where rents were relatively flat until they go up and then come back down. They've been evident newer buildings where the absorption is going on. There's more space getting back to the B and C. So if you want to deal with it, it'll be out there. If you want a really great space, there's that too.
I think you just put your finger on my law firm still really good. So Gordon, what's your perspective as a landlord about tax? Is it more important or the actual dollar?
So for most of our portfolio, we're located in general listed tax districts in Lake County. We've been, I don't say it's something that's so true, but we're definitely one of the top 10, maybe even one of the top 5, and certainly the largest property taxpayer in Lake County for independent or not public portfolio. So we do have some sense of predictability since we understand generally what kind of taxing rates are going to be at. I'd say for folks that are in markets that aren't as predictable, look, it's certainly challenging. It's hard making calls to investor about certain consequences our taxes and operating. And look, I understand that we're in a business where there's a lot of uncertainty and we don't want to have additional uncertainty.
So we're going to have, I think we covered most of what we needed to cover. So I thought we would do is open it up for questions now. And then close by explaining.
With what we see people market in the city, development of everything west downtown, are you seeing that same pattern in the move to the suburbs with Schaumburg, those counties, closer cities? Are you seeing that new, anything on that new hot place to be in urban where people are flocking with things on home office and these teams we've driven out of the city, open offices themselves. A hot market like that right now. So.
Yeah, Focus is unique in that regard. And other than the big skyscraper projects that were under construction before the pandemic, it's the only market where new construction is going on since the last couple of years, and new projects continue to be planned. What's unique about Fulton is the energy vibe, the atmosphere, the experience that's growing, the attention nationally from companies that are looking to expand. Companies that are restricted in coastal markets in Boston or San Francisco or other areas that they want coast-based and the rents seem pretty good compared to other markets when they look at our rent construction rates. And then they want excellent labor, they want transportation, they want housing nearby. And you know, it's going from not just office, but now you have sciences. Up in Chicago is pretty cool. The industry that we really have at hand. New growth from, we've got the big pharma companies in the burbs, but now we have startups downtown, which are you know, exciting element of the city. So it's a good first area. And it's mixed use, so it's not just office area. Like I said, it's apartments and retail, hotels, and mixed use going on in that area. So the only new construction project in the Chicago market that I can think of is the redevelopment of Dallas campus, which is basically being, and that's been a lot of retail. There's an office building plan that really hasn't been off the ground. But other than that, I mean, it's full market story is a national one. It's great for Chicago.
Okay, what about this Metroburg concept? Where is that viable? Can you create that full market vibe of the suburbs?
So I don't think you're ever going to create the same vibe downtown. You create a community of businesses that gives you a reason to go into this. Look, downtown, you're always going to pay more. You're always going to have more amenities. You're going to have more suburbs are never going to be. But what they can be typically on for the right business, a value-driven place where there are good amenities, there are good food options in the area, there's a good location, and you're close to great schools, great suburban workforce, and you can make it work. I think the best thing about the last panel was the agreement between both the suburban heavy brokers and landlords and city heavy broker landlords that creates a lot of organizations try to pit us against each other and say, you know, oh, you know, the suburbs are growing, the suburbs are shrinking, and the cities are figuring it out. They work in a different tangent together to create kind of an environment that works for suburban center businesses and city center businesses. And so I think the growth of Fulton Market, the growth of downtown only helps the suburbs. And I can say definitively, I'm working now with a couple of businesses that are looking at hub and spoke method in a couple of areas of Collier counties. And the only reason I would be working with that is because of the growth. And so ultimately, I think there's lots of push and pull as working together because we're a global community. And so Chicago Life Sciences is fighting for jobs, Boston, Charlotte, all these other areas. And it's not we're tugging with the city as much as we're tugging with
To you and can't pick a fight, there must not be a controversy. Any other questions? Okay, we're going to wrap up and we're going to go down and what are your volitions?
Well, one of the reasons why I really in the Chicago market is because of technology. And again, like I said before, I know this is not a technology now, but with the availability of an accelerated and educated workforce that IBM Local 134 electrical contract provide, we're ready for that transition. When we look at what we have coming up, I think the biggest thing when it comes to property owners, buildings, and tenants is to provide what we call smart buildings. And I think that will move us towards the next wave. And that will move us to what we call smart cities. All of this means that we have to have individuals who are educated and trained in different forms of electrical industry. That includes wireless, that includes electrical, that includes different facets of that industry that will prepare us for what's coming. And this in turn will make buildings more attractive, draw more individuals to the offices, because again, we know that the industry is changing. We spoke earlier about what it used to be like at the time when we had our pre-meeting. And I remember coming up as a young man, and I won't give away my age, but the downtown area was strictly businesses, right? That was the only reason why they came downtown, which was to work, maybe to catch, individuals going up to the tower, maybe catch the Buckingham Fountain, but for the most part, it's businesses. And what happened was there was a exodus of businesses, and it had to be repurposed. And now we saw residential properties moving in the downtown market. Now, again, that meant that you have to have individuals that can provide a return on investment on those individuals and property owners that wanted to come in, have those properties modified. And I see the same thing here. We saw in the beginning of 2020, when the city shut down, we thought that around this time, COVID would be in the rearview mirror, right? And now as we see these variants come about, the Delta variant and now the Omicron variant, this is something that we're going to have to deal with for some time. It's not going to go away immediately, hopefully tomorrow, but it won't be going away immediately. And I think that it would be prudent and paramount for buildings and property owners to look at investing in their buildings and properties, where it be Class A, which we know they have that ability, more so Class B, looking at how they can modify their buildings if they want to stay relevant to move towards smart buildings. And for me, I'm excited about that because I think it is a true possibility. Just being in Chicago area all my life and seeing what has transpired downtown in the few years that has happened, I think that it is a real possibility.
Thanks. Lizzie, you guys, what my bullish on Chicago? I'm bullish on Chicago because Chicago has great infrastructure, transportation, labor, universities, diverse economy, and I think that that's important to look at. A lot of cities don't have that. Got a good core downtown that will bounce back. We're going to sick of COVID and are anxious to get back to being out and about. You can certainly see that in restaurants and bars. No problem there, but they're scared to open offices. So, and I think too that leader CEOs are their place. And the key is young people coming out of college, they want to move to the city. They want to live there. That's where the new workforce is coming. They want to be in jobs downtown. They want to have apartments. They want to see their friends. They want that environment. So I think that's going to be taking race that brings people back to get into the office.
I certainly agree with that. I think Chicago is uniquely situated as a labor force, as a great set of college towns. I think there are three industries I'm particularly bullish on Chicago. First of all, food and food-related services industry. Chicago does like very few cities in the world. The second is logistics. Logistics industry is only growing just like food, and so Chicago is a world logistics leader, uniquely situated, and gives a lot of potential for long-term growth. And the last is life sciences. I can say ultimately that I spent about 3 days outside the office because of life sciences, because so many of the tenants in our portfolio were moving during the pandemic, trying to meet the demands of not only the tests, but also help facilitate some of the ways to get our way out. So I'm ultimately very bullish on Chicago, the general Chicago.
I want to thank you for what you've shared with us today and responding to some of our prior panels and for leaving us on that high note. Thank you.